Does the holiday season feel more like a battlefield than a bonding time with your husband? If bitterness has replaced joy in your relationship, in the marriage, and it has become the norm than the exception, let's talk about how you can turn that around, no matter how distant he seems. The holidays can magnify every frustration, and I'm sure you would possibly agree with that. I would hope so, right? It magnifies what already have been in place. You've decorated, planned, and tried to make everything perfect, but he seems too busy or uninterested. You're not alone, and you're in the right place to find hope and practical solutions. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome. I'm Kingsley Grant, a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified relationship coach. And I want to say this is not professional counseling. Please do not take this as such. I draw from almost 2 decades of helping couples just like yourself navigate moments like this. And I can tell you, I have worked with hundreds of couples and spouses, and I've heard stories even like this one. But not only in my professional career, I've been married as of this recording 39 years and counting. But trust me, as you would imagine, it hasn't been perfect. We've had our ups and downs, my wife and I, and we've had our own share of challenges at different times throughout our marriage. And if you've listened to me for some time, or you may hear me talk about some of those challenges where we even had to go for counseling at one point in our own relationship. And we're here today. I'm here today talking to you because of one thing that truly has made a difference, and that is God's grace. God's grace has been our anchor, and I want to share some of that with you today, along with some practical ways of how you can navigate this season, even if your husband continues to be the way he is. At the end of this video, I'll also share a free gift. Is an ebook, 5 Proven Steps to a Happier Marriage. And you can fast forward to learn more if you want to grab that book right now. But I promise the insights you'll gain here will make the guide even more valuable. It truly will make more sense having gone through this video. So I would suggest you just stay with me as we make our way through this video. Now, the holidays amplify what's already not working, as I implied at the very beginning. And I'm sure you would agree with that. If you're feeling bitter, it's because your expectations of connection and support aren't met. And this is not to condemn, it's not a pointing finger, it's not a judgment, it's just simply what it is, right? The bitterness has come as this thing has festered, as you have had these feelings for some time, and you've been struggling with what to do with this, and you've tried different ways, but nothing seemed to have worked, right? Externally, what you're experiencing is a distance and a disengagement in your relationship. Internally, you're feeling frustrated and lonely. You're exhausted, carrying all of the are feeling as if you're carrying all of this on your own shoulders and wondering, does he even care? Does my husband even care? Does he even notice? And on these things are going on in your mind. Now, before I dive into what I've learned and what I think will be helpful to you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this is making sense so far, or this is resonating with you. That way you won't miss content designed to help your marriage thrive that I put out on a regular basis. Now, here's the truth. Embracing the mind of Christ is the fastest way to shift your marriage dynamic. Now, I know sometimes when people hear that, sometimes will tune out, and I hope you don't, because they have probably been there and done that, or thought that they're doing that and haven't seen any results. But I want to help you understand a few things in this video. So when I say in embracing the mind of Christ, it's all that goes along with that. The attitude, what Christ have said, he've come to serve and not to be served. The idea of having that relationship with the Father and on and on, right? But instead of letting bitterness fester, we want to lean into grace, humility, and intentional connection. This is what the mind of Christ is all about. Now, most people try to fix situations like you're experiencing distance by demanding change or withdrawing altogether. Now, I've seen both sides and I understand some people are different because of their personality, and some will try to just muscle their way through, and it will come through their raising their voice. They may just be behaving a certain way, and on and on, right? The coldness and all of that. And that may be what, well, I'm not sure. I wouldn't say you are, but there are people who've tried that. And I've talked to couples or spouses who have tried that and also tried withdrawing, isolating themselves, pulling away, but they still didn't or don't get what they're looking for. I call that the old way, right? Because what it does, it just widens the gap. It made things worse, right? Not better. It doesn't fix or solve the problem, the issue. By embracing biblical principles, the mind of Christ, like speaking the truth in love, Ephesians 4, verse 15 talks about this, where it says, instead, speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into Him, into Christ, who is the head, right? So, this idea is an opportunity for growth. That's the mindset of Christ. So maybe it's an opportunity that God has given you. So God has given me. Well, yeah, He might be giving you this opportunity to grow. And He wants to help you in the process. He's not going to leave you by yourself. No, no, no. He wants to help you to come alongside because He understands. He sees and He is experiencing this with you. Also in Matthew 5, verse 39, when Jesus taught about the idea of when you're in situations like this and you're experiencing the pain that comes along with this, He says, but now I tell you, do not take revenge on someone who wrongs you, who's behaving this way like your husband is. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, let him slap your left cheek too. Now, it's not that you're going around and being slapped around and and being being a martyr. No, no, no. It's a principle here. In a sense, you're feeling slapped by your husband, right? You're feeling rejected. That's a slap. And so Jesus is simply saying, don't take revenge. Don't try to return evil for evil. No, He says, position yourself to experience that again. Because here's what happened. I do know this. That is, you're going to find a way, the right key, the right moment, the right thing that God's going to give you. Because you're turning the other cheek. You're not running away. You're not shying away from this. And God will give you the right key, the right thing that will connect you. I cannot tell you how many times in my own relationship with my wife, and if she was here, she would probably tell you the same thing. In a sense, we have kind of practiced this because we've experienced our own slaps in different ways, right? Not physically. I want to make sure you hear that, not physically, but we've had our emotional slaps. We've had our mental, our verbal slaps, things that were said and done, behaviors that really were slaps. And I can tell you one thing: some people will use that as a way to exit their relationship. But God didn't call us to exit because I believe the Bible says what the Bible says, right? All things work together for good to those who love the Lord and are called according to His purposes. What if God is using this to help you to become more like Him? And so in our relationship, now I want to tell you this up front: we didn't get it right all the time. We actually sometimes did not turn the other cheek. At times, I can tell you from my own personal experience, I slap back, so to speak, not physically, not physically. I want to make sure you hear that, but verbally and emotionally and mentally. And so those things did not work. I can tell you they did not work. They only made matters worse. But through over time and prayer and God's grace, like I mentioned before, we learned how to not slap back, but to find a way to surrender and to request forgiveness and all of those things that comes along with the mind of Christ. And we're still standing almost 40 years of this. So God is inviting us then to have our behaviors modified, right? He wants to have our hearts be transformed in the process. So here's one thing I want to suggest that you may want to think about doing at this point in this season of busyness and feelings you're experiencing and the bitterness and the harm, the hurt, the pain. I want you to overcome evil by doing good. Because I would say, yes, it feels like an evil act on your husband's part. But remember, you know this, that your husband is more than likely, if he's anything like me, like I've said in other videos, was an entrepreneur, a husband who is truly working hard at trying to make things work for the family. And he's putting out all his energy and time, and he's simply hard at it. It's grinding away because he knows that this is, in his mind, this is the family's way out into freedom financially and so on. And you, I'm sure you're not the person that begrudges him. Actually, you applaud his, as you know, aspirational journey and his dream and what he wants for the family. You applaud that, but it comes at a price. And that is what I think I'm hearing from you. So it's not that you're a bad person or he's a bad person. These things are just happening. It's simply that you're feeling the effects of that. So I want to suggest something here. I want you to encourage you to do this as your practical step. Start with this. I want you to write your husband a short note of appreciation. Yeah, yeah. I know. I know. You said, Kings, are you kidding? Are you out of your mind? Are you asking me to do something when he's the one who's doing these things to me? Well, if you heard me correctly, it may be that is for you. Maybe God is using this for you, for your own growth, to work some things in and through you and out of you, right? Maybe God is shaping you. Maybe it's an area that God is saying, trust me and be patient. So I want you to write your husband a short note of appreciation. Thank him for something specific and express your desire to spend even a few moments together this week. Now, if you listen to my or watch my last video, I talked about something again in that video where I give a very practical, specific thing to do. And if you watch it, if you haven't, you may want to go back and watch that video. And it talks about this simple idea of you doing something. You're not waiting to be a reactive person. You want to be more of a proactive person. See, I believe that God will honor your faithfulness. God will honor the attempts you're making. So thank Him for something specific and express your desire. You know, I talked about in my last video that a word could be like, "Can I steal you away for 5 minutes or 10 minutes just to go for a walk?" You know, but this is this simpler same idea. Keep it simple, heartfelt, and free of complaints. Just be very specific. And I would love to hear your thoughts on what I'm suggesting so far. And if you have a question or a comment, I would also love to hear that. So can I ask you even right now to simply type that inside the comment section below? I would love to hear. And so we can even have a conversation. And I would really, truly it'd be helpful and to me to know that you are actually, this is making sense to you. Now, let me give you three important takeaways that I want you to have as well from what you're watching in this video. Number one, bitterness grows when expectations aren't met, but grace is the antidote. Grace is the antidote, as you heard me mention earlier. Number two, small intentional actions can break the cycle of distance. And number three, inviting Christ into your marriage brings lasting change, right? And you know that. And this is why I'm repeating and reiterating and what it is I'm just saying, because I think that these are some things that you do know, but I want to remind you. And I want you to also know this. I've counseled, worked with, coached hundreds of couples and spouses like yourself. So many women, so many wives who felt exactly as you do. God sees your efforts, and you're not alone in this. You're not alone in this. So here's a point I mentioned earlier. I have a gift, right? Hopefully, having listened to this now, this gift, this ebook, I believe will be much helpful. And it's a Christian wife's guide to a happier marriage. And so there are more actionable steps in there, like you had today, practical steps. There are some also in that ebook. And the link is in the description below, or it's just simply buildyourhappiermarriage.com/guide. Buildyourhappiermarriage.com/guide. And don't forget to subscribe for continuous videos and content like this one that I put out on a regular basis. And remember this, you are one communication skill away from a more peaceful, connected, and joy filled marriage. Just one. And that scale is what I suggested earlier. And I want you to experiment with it and see what difference it makes. And remember this, where Psalm 127, verse 1 says, unless the Lord builds the house, its builders labor in vain. Let God lead your marriage building efforts. He does a great job. He does the best job. He knows exactly what it takes for your marriage. Now, if you found value today, again, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up and share it with at least one other person who might need encouragement this holiday season. In our next video, we're going to discuss 3 ways to rekindle your husband's interest without pushing him away. Wow, you won't want to miss that one, I'm sure, right? Now, God bless you as we wrap things up here and keep you. May He let His face shine upon you, and may your marriage thrive. May you experience the joy in your heart and the peace that God has come to give, even in this holiday season. I'm praying for your marriage. I'm I'm routing for the success of your marriage. That you too, if you've not yet surpassed me, will one day catch up with me. That's my prayer for you. May God bless you. And I'll make sure that you watch this other video right here. This one here. Watch this one here and share that also with another person. God bless you. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace out. God bless.